All right, it's been 2 days since Back to Church
Yeah.
Sunday. How's everybody feeling?
Tired.
Tired? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tired.
Really tired.
Just tired.
Just tired.
Just tired.
No, it was so fun though. But I liked when the cleaning lady came in, I had to apologize to her because I was like, hey, so we had a lot of fun on Sunday and we really appreciate everything you do. Because she came in, she's like, wow, what happened here? And so,
Discipleship.
yeah,
Back to Church
Yeah.
Sunday.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good though. It was really good.
Did you get to explain to her at all what Back to Church Sunday is?
I did. And I was like, please feel free to help yourself to all these empty donut boxes if you're hungry, because it was like, they had like 2 donuts left here, a couple munchkins left here, whatever. And so she's like, I'm good. I'm good. But she could tell, she's like, I think y'all had some fun this weekend. I was like, you are
It was
right.
definitely a fun morning. So
You're
I
right.
think it'd be awesome if we just kind of went around the table and just maybe talked about one highlight, one thing that stood out to each of us kind of in our area of ministry that, was special, that we felt like was a win for the Back to Church Sunday. What about you? What about you, Melissa?
So for the preschool is the fellowship aspect of it, because I fix breakfast for all my life group teachers, because we're dealing with preschoolers, and so it's not like you can bring casseroles and all the stuff like the adults do for the little guys. So and then I get to go in and I sit with each classroom while they step out and to get some breakfast and come back. So it's so
That's
fun for
cool.
me. Like, I get to go to each classroom, sit with them, chat with them. Like, I'm in and out all the time with the kids, but to make that connection with my teachers, and like, it's an opportunity for me to, one, thank them, love
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
them, but also like, hey, like, what can I help you with, that kind of thing. But the fellowship for the
Yes.
preschool teachers is amazing.
Well, we had a full house downstairs. Okay, so kids ministries was great. Don't hear that. But what was really fun is just the hallways. People were hanging outside of their classrooms. It kind of reminded me of like moving day in college when everybody's like not wanting to go into the rooms because all the excitement is happening outside in the hallways. So that was really cool. And then we got to see a couple classes move because they were too full. And shout out to the Bix because they were mentioning this to me too. But it was funny. They're like, well, we just had our classroom get a little bit more cozy, and now we're having to relocate because they doubled their classroom size. So, so that was really fun just to watch and walk up and down the hallways and just see people laughing and telling stories or relocating. Or, Jody, do you have construction paper? We've got to make signs to move. Do I have construction paper and glitter? What do you need? But the kids ministries, it was a lot of fun too. We had a ton of new tiny disciples who came for the first time, and what a joy. But really my favorite thing was just seeing everybody in the hallways chitter chattering. Normally people just go straight into their rooms and kind of get started. Everybody was just talking. And it was like, no, we have to get into it. Like, let's get this party started. So that was probably my favorite thing, was just watching the laughter happen.
And even with those classrooms that moved, I bet you didn't hear, though, anyone complain about it.
Not a single person.
Yeah.
Not a single person.
Yeah, so even the atmosphere was just like, there was joy and bubbling and talking and just come with us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that atmosphere.
It was cool.
I think for me, the obvious one for me is we had the praise choir kickoff, which we did that a couple times. It seems like forever ago now. We tried it out Christmas Eve of 24, which is the last Christmas Eve we had. I don't know why I felt the need to specify it like that, but
Thank you very much.
it's just the pressure of being
Yeah.
recorded. That's all it is. It's like when you go to like do your answering machine or your voicemail answer. That tells you I am at least a 90s baby.
There you go.
Yeah. It's just, so you just have like when somebody calls you, they're like 706 cannot come to the phone. 555 cannot come to the phone right now. What was I saying?
You were
Choir.
Yeah, choir.
choir.
Yeah, so the obvious one for me is the praise choir. So I've been kind of dreaming really all this year about how can we do this in a way that is fresh and is new, and maybe get some folks involved that used to sing in the choir
Yeah.
that have been missing that, but also sort of like marry it to what we do with the band. And so I think we had a great kickoff to it. I want to see it grow.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest things. But man, for just having 10 people up there. I was so grateful for, or 10 or 11.
Say, it looked pretty full.
I don't have photographic memory. It was
And it was
full for the risers we
generational.
have. Yes, and
That's what was so cool. Is it was
and I'm glad you
generational.
brought that up because that's such a huge component of it. Is it does allow folks from any generation, from all generations. We had youth to senior adults and everything in between. And I would even love maybe for a couple of kids to jump up
I was
there.
gonna
I know
say,
Nora has
Are
been asking
we allowed
me
to?
yeah.
Let's go.
So yeah, it'll be a fun thing that we get to see evolve and give us an opportunity to do some music that maybe doesn't really work with the normal band thing. And like I said, just involve people. And, there's so many people that we have that are gifted that want to use their gift to just worship the Lord and just have such a pure, genuine heart in that. And that's what I'm really excited about. But I think it was well received and
Well,
appreciated
It was awesome.
by.
So I
folks.
enjoy this every Sunday, but this past Sunday, so, because I get here early, set up my rooms and straighten up preschool, and the sanctuary doors are open. So I get to hear you guys practice every Sunday. But this past Sunday, hearing more than just one voice sing and for it to flow out into the foyer. So it was like a mini worship service just for me
I feel like when I'm standing
while
up
I'm
there
getting ready.
and everybody's on the risers, if I just close my eyes, it just feels like heaven.
I
Yeah.
love
'Cause, I mean, it's
I mean,
just
no
so-
offense to just the one voice when you guys are singing like on any other Sunday, but like the multitude of voices was like
Yeah.
it was on a different level.
I've been looking
so
forward
cool.
to it for a long time, and so I'm so grateful to everybody that made time to come to all the extra practices, and would love for more and more people to get involved in that.
When's
So,
their next chance to be able to be?
it'll be either the second to last week or the last Sunday of October.
Okay,
Yeah,
very cool. I like
So
it.
yeah, the two things that stood out to me is like Jody said, just the difference in just the fellowship of the people in the hallways and just wanting to connect with other people. I got to go down and move with my life group, Pursuing God, into the Man Church area, and so had a lot of new guests there and got to talk with some of them. It was good to connect with people that it was the first time at our church. Just to tear down some walls that we are normal people. We're not just, and so the other aspect is I get here really early too. And so I get to hear all the band practice and all the stuff. And so just to hear all the voices, right? Sounded great. They did an excellent job. And just to, as I get an extra dose when I'm moving chairs and setting up stuff and doing things. I get to get that unedited version of what you're about to hear.
yeah, in the raw. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
So my dad gave his life to Jesus, and then we baptized him. And what's really cool is on Sunday mornings I'm the first one up at my house, and I get ready early because I'm the first one here. And so I'm up and I've got my coffee and studying, and my dad comes in and he's got his Bible and he's got his life group book, and he sits down, gets him a cup of coffee, and he begins to open up his life group book and begin to study it. And then I told him, I'm like, hey, you can ride with Stephanie, or you can stay here, or you can ride with me or whatever. And he said, oh, well, I want to go with you. And so we got here to the church, and he wanted to help me turn on the lights. And
I saw him using the leaf blower.
yeah,
out there
so
in the
and so
morning.
I
Yeah.
started to go out and blow off the leaves, and he's like, "Hey, let me do that." And it's like
Cool.
just to see the change, like in his heart, is just it's been amazing.
so quick and so sudden.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
and you prayed for so long. too.
yeah, it's amazing to see what God can do like that. Right in an instance, He can change a life completely.
I'll never forget watching you baptize him. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
that's one of the most powerful just ministry highlights that I've just gotten to observe, and just watching your faithfulness and how you've prayed for him, and even the rest of your family too. Just how you've been such a example and a witness to them. That's awesome. I heard that, well, that's probably not the only eventful thing that you had happen on Back to Church Sunday. I heard you kind of put the back in Back to Church Sunday.
I did.
But
So, Sunday evening, it started raining, and my little dog had to go outside, and he does not like the rain. He does not like getting wet, and so we have part of our porch is covered, and so he decided I'm going to go around this way, and so he started off the back steps. The back steps were slick, and I landed forearms and back on the steps, and so I'm struggling today, and so yeah, I put the back in back to church Sunday.
That's really funny.
Literally.
I'm not trying to turn your pain into a joke. Or
Oh,
anything.
no,
I
yeah,
just- I
it's-
wanted everybody
hey.
to know that you're still here at work despite
Oh yeah.
hobbling around. you
Here's
know,
the second
which-
pastor walking
which
with a
nobody,
limp this week.
Yeah.
nobody expected less.
I will say we have some competitions with our
Yes.
life groups because I never tried so many variations of bacon in my life than I did at Back to Church Sunday. So we know that our life groups love to compete and they were delicious. But we also had another competition that kicked off
Yeah,
at Back
tell
to
us,
Church
tell us
Sunday.
some more about that. You and Melissa have
So-
got some info to relay to us.
We did. So you had your opportunity this Sunday to earn their first 100 points for Build a Boat because our whole year we are talking about building stronger together, especially in our life groups and in community that way. And so this particular month, they could kick off and earn their first 100 points. Melissa, you got those for us?
got it.
Let's do it.
So these are the classes that met their attendance goals that we put out a couple of weeks ago. So they've had a couple of weeks to invite people, see who wasn't there, bring guests. So shout out to these life group classes for earning your first 100 points. We've got middle school girls.
Man, they are
Always killing
they
it.
are
Yes,
like
they are.
on it.
I would love to take credit for that, but I can't. They're just awesome, and their leaders are awesome. But I can vicariously celebrate through them because they're still my girls.
Yes, let's go.
El Shaddai,
Yay.
Elisha's Arrows,
Here we go.
Home Builders Surrendered Servants class. And then special shout out for Pursuing God. That's the class Scott was talking about, had to move to the man church. High attendance of 34.
Yes.
Yep. Souls on Fire and the Women of Faith Joy Ladies all met their attendance goals.
That's
so They're on the
incredible.
board with 100 points.
I love it. Let's keep that
Hey,
going.
and if you are needing extra points, I am available to attend your class at a fee.
Is it what kind of fee are you talking?
I mean, if
like a free
it's-
cup of coffee,
like
or is this like
Bacon, donuts.
The way he sounded, I literally thought he was going to say, for the low, low price of $9.99 a month.
a crisp $5 bill?
I can add points to your class. Just
Scott, you're just such a servant.
That's good
Thank
to
you. Way to be there for everybody else.
I'm a
I don't know how I
player.
feel about this.
So, what is the next event?
So here's the thing. I would love for people to sign up, and that's going to kick off the first week of October, October 5th. Fall Fest is
birthday.
going to, and Austin's birthday, but
Yeah.
also Fall Fest. So if you bring Austin a cake and you register to help serve at Fall Fest, you too can get a Gilligan. We talked about it last time on the podcast, but if your life group signs up, or if even your family signs up and you want to represent a life group, you can host a game, help us bring in supplies. You can serve in our food areas or popcorn, all these different events. But we are going to start registering for Fall Fest to be a volunteer October 5th. And if your Fall Fest, if your life group volunteers, then you automatically can get put together and get a Gilligan. And that's when our two groups, and I'm just saying right now, if our Ladies of Joy get together with those middle school girls, their boat is going to be awesome, unsinkable.
So for my birthday, sign up for Fall Fest. That's what I want.
Yes, that would be so great. And if you are curious how you can sign up, come visit the kids check-in area. We've got the whole display up. We've got all the games that we would love to have represented. They're all from like old arcade games from the 70s, 80s, and today. But that way, your life group, and if you want a specific game, you better register quick because we learned last
if you could
year.
hook us up with like a N64 Smash Bros tournament station,
Well,
I'll be happy to man
there
that.
is a Smash Bros, but we also have Brett Allen coming to us, and he is going to have a Mario Kart Hot Wheels style track racing event. And so pretty excited about that, along with other things for Fall Fest. So it's going to be
I don't even know
awesome.
what that means, but I'm
game.
excited.
Just say yes.
just
That is
say
always
yes.
the best answer for me. But definitely be looking out October 5th to start signing up for how you can love and lead our community for Fall Fest.
So
nice.
so give me a flashback of memories with the Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I remember the first Nintendo I got, and so me and my little
NES or Super Nintendo? Which
No,
one
it's
is
just
this?
the- yeah.
just regular
And-
old.
and,
Like Atari?
And
Is
so the first one that we had, we were asleep, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard the game like playing, and
Nope.
I'm like, who's playing my game? And I walk in. My mom.
Levi
and-
doesn't have a mic, but he said
my,
Terry.
my mom and dad are playing
Yes.
Mario, and you know how if you can't make him jump far enough, like they were literally going.
Yeah, that's like when we would play Mario Kart growing up. My dad or my mom, like they would have like the controller. and
Yeah.
you go around a curve that you just
Yeah.
try to
The
get
whole
around too
body
hard.
goes.
I'm like,
I
it
love
does.
it.
It's not.
That's
They
not
didn't
how
come
it
out with the
works.
Wii until 2008, man.
I was good at the Wii. I can't do the rest of
but
them.
it was like they were committed to like the controller. They were going to help him jump as far as
Yeah.
he could, but,
But-
it did
but it
not
never
work.
helped.
And they
Yeah.
were probably doing it in the middle of the night because back then with the regular Nintendo, you couldn't save anything. So you
Oh,
just had
no.
to keep
Yeah.
going.
No,
you might
yeah,
could
you-
hopefully pause it for the
yeah.
whole night, but yeah, you just had to keep going.
Love it.
Yeah. Hey, so before we wrap up this segment, I do want to kind of jump back to something that we did last week, which we had our very highly critically acclaimed Amazon purchase game, which Nancy Keys sat in with us, and we had so much fun. But I think you were saying that people asked you at
Yes.
church about maybe some of your
I
purchases.
had some people come up to me and they're like, man, I got like 2 or 3 of them right, or I'm shocked that you bought that, or Levi bought that, or whatever. But people were invested in the game. And so I feel like we need to have like another game where they can get points
Well, it's
for
kinda-
like,
I felt a
I
little
guess-
awkward when Brian threw it to me on Sunday during announcements, and he said Austin's bunny harness.
Oh, that was
I
so
felt like
funny.
I didn't have quite the opportunity to explain maybe to what that is, because bunny harness in
Yeah.
your mind, you could get a visual representation of what that would be, and it could be accurate or very inaccurate. So I did my best to pretend as if I was walking
yes.
it.
I'm sure
But
the
yeah.
podcast views went up after that, and they were like,
Yes.
I need to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah.
Well, that was another
It's,
thing.
it's
'cause
literally just a full body leash.
We were
and it's not
talking-
even my bunny; it's my daughter's bunny.
We were talking at soccer. A bunch of us are on the same soccer team. Not us, our children. We don't do cardio. But and so when we were talking about all the purchases and laughing about it, we had other people going, "What are you talking about?" So it was a really fun way to like plug it in and check out the podcast. But that was hilarious for sure.
I had several people ask me if I was okay with my recovery.
Well,
I've not seen
I've,
any
I've never
fairies
doubted
or-
you, Scott.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was in the past.
That was in the past.
All right. Well, hey, stick with us for this next segment. We are going to have Levi and Jody talk to us, and Melissa's going to talk to
Yeah,
us as
Melissa's
well.
gonna talk to us
Sorry, I
too.
don't want to leave you out, Melissa. I'm a professional. Can't you see? We're going to have them talk to us about what it looks like to take discipleship home and disciple your family. So stick around. All right, we have got a bunch of good information for you here today. And as you've probably figured out, Brian is not here. so somehow or another, you get stuck with me. And I'm going to read you some of this information, but here we go. Full disclosure. I grew up in a home where I think maybe one Braves game aired on the TV, like in my entire childhood. And other than that, my dad just watched like John Wayne, Westerns, and Star Trek. And that was pretty much why I am the way that I am today. I mean, come by it honestly. So I'm going to read you the birthdays. We have no anniversaries this week, but I'm going to read you the birthdays, and then I'm going to kick it over to Jody and to Scott, and they're going to read you all the sports stuff, because you don't want me giving you that information because I don't know what I'm talking
Because
about.
we are so much better at that.
I know what a touchdown is. I know what a field goal is, and I really don't understand the fantasy side of all this stuff. I have bowled before.
So fantasy is that you wish that you were as good an
I do
athlete
understand what a
as-
fantasy is, but when it relates to football, I mean, I know it's not that hard to put two and two together, but all I'm saying is not my wheelhouse.
So let's get the enthusiasm going, confetti popping.
Yeah.
Birthdays, Austin. Here we
Birthdays.
go.
All right. Today is the 23rd, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
As we record this, it is September 23rd, and today, Carly Williams and Braden Koneman.
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Woo!
Happy birthday to them. Janet Miller and Chase West, the 24th. Christian Thomas, the 24th. Be sure and wish them a happy birthday tomorrow. Grayson Byers, Nicholas Chavez, Justin Hutcherson. Oh, Grayson and Nicholas are the 25th. Justin Hutcherson is the 26th. Samantha Wood, the 27th. Holland Dockery, 27th. Mary Bales and Blake Carver and Zoe Bly, 28th.
Hey, the
Wish them a happy
Yes.
birthday.
What a great
Don't
week
let
of
it go by without
birthdays.
telling them. Yeah.
Well,
And no anniversaries.
No anniversaries. That's okay. We
Somebody
love to celebrate.
Somebody needs to get married
Someone needs to get.
or come to our
We've
church.
got lots of pastors here who can make that happen
Yeah.
pretty quickly, actually. So with Brian out of town, the obvious choice to do sports announcements would be me. So here we go. Liberty League A winners. Ugly. Brian Branham, Campbell's Troops, Gabe Shady, Shark Sandwich, Bo Barrett, Joel's Jukers, Joel Korn, and Sherlock Mahomes, Nathan Pendergrass, who is the only undefeated team at 3-0. He leads that league, so good job.
Way to go, Nathan.
Okay, so here's my plug for my friend and yours, Miss Sophie Korn. Sherlock Mahomes, the only connection I have that I can make for you, girl, for Taylor Swift. I did make a joke with my husband. I've been seeing all these signs for the Chiefs that we need 2 rings this year, an engagement ring and a Super Bowl ring.
Not going to happen.
Well, I don't know. I was told I wasn't allowed to say that because we're supposed to be Steelers fans, but we for sure are not going to get that. Sorry, babe. Okay, so we've got that's League A. Sophie Korn, I appreciate you, girl. And that painting, y'all. Y'all need to go check it out. Middle school girl, she did awesome. Okay, Liberty League B winners. Third down for what? Brian Branham, my cup runneth over you. Nathan Stanfield, who remains undefeated at 3-0 and leads the league. Good job, Nathan Stanfield. FSU 1-1. Devin Smith, congratulations. Fourth and Lando, Anthony Landowski. And Father, forgive my draft, Josh Hall. If there's any more information that should have been added to that, y'all can talk amongst yourselves at Man Church this week.
So, what about the Lord's will? Where's the Lord's will at?
Oh, no.
Did he drop off?
Yeah, he
I don't see. I'm
Lord
telling you, I don't understand how
will.
this works, and I was hoping that he would stay in because I was so proud of that.
How does that work?
It
Like,
was
if your
not
team
in the
loses, you
Lord's
get kicked
will
out?
that he
It
was,
was
in
not
this.
in the Lord's will.
Oh, those are all your winners. Oh, Dex,
Yeah,
it says
that-
Liberty
it-
League B
okay,
winners. I should read all the
okay.
information. Congratulations, friends.
guess
Good
we're- okay.
job.
I understand.
And then it was
a little
not
bit
in the
more.
Lord's will for all the losers.
Oh, that's why my husband's name isn't on. Oh, sorry,
Yes.
Danny. You did lose to Brian. This makes so much more sense.
I think they can put it all together.
Yeah.
But hey, if children's ministry for some reason never worked out, you'd be a great newscaster.
I would love
You
to
can
do
just
that.
Yeah.
But I don't understand
But
any
you're
of
great
it.
at children's ministry. So
I
you won't have to worry
appreciate
about
you. How about bowling? Did we do any better in bowling?
So in bowling, Liberty 1 and 2 are both in the winning column this week. So Liberty 1 beat Central Church of Christ of Omega, and Jeremy Poe with his high score of 193. Way
Wow.
to go, Jeremy! That's
Good job.
That's bowling right there.
That's my new phrase. Anytime I get dragged to the bowling alley, which is like once every 3 years, that's it for me. That's bowling right there. That's what every time I put it in the gutter, that's bowling right
That's
there.
bowling right
You're
there.
welcome.
Thank you for that, Scott.
You're welcome. That's bowling at its finest.
I'm gonna get you a T-shirt that says that or something.
Yeah, I got plenty of slogans that have. I mean, you could put it on a T-shirt.
Oh,
yes.
bless it,
I love
Dang.
it.
So Liberty 2 swept Crown View Baptist 4-0.
Good job.
Father Abraham with the high score of 192. Way to go, Father Abraham. And then James Pilcher had a high series of 519. Wow.
Is that
And then Mike Spark continues to lead the league in splits.
blessed day? Liberty softball.
It's a
I don't know
good
why I'm still.
it's a good thing that those are not physical splits, right?
Well, that would be funny.
Haven't done one of those in about 20 years.
No, that would be
You've
difficult.
attempted?
I'm a black belt, or I got one at least when I was in the 5th grade. So
Check you out. Fun fact.
yeah, I think we mentioned that on the podcast once or twice before, but yeah, haven't been very flexible since I quit that.
Well, Liberty softball 1-1, lost one last night. I don't know to who, but we kicked off softball.
I have no. I was supposed
That's
to play
softball
last
right
night, but back to church Sunday got me. when it was back to my porch on my back, and so I didn't get to play Monday. So so I'm supposed to be playing on the softball team.
Let everybody say a prayer for Scott.
Yeah,
That his back gets to feeling better.
And we definitely appreciate all of you who did our sports recap without Brian here.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
they can tell like who's really into sports when they are asking us
Full
to do it.
disclosure with me, it's not.
No.
It's not my
I went to
business.
ballet school. I've actually never attended a school that had a football team from
Wow.
elementary all the way to college. So
I at least did that.
I've
Not
not
by choice, but that's just where I was zoned.
So-
You know.
I'm
Go
gonna
team,
start
go.
having to wear football pads or something just to stay safe.
I've got
Can you
bubble
get me
wrap.
bubble wrap? That'll work. Yeah.
I've got that in the car right now. If you need some.
I don't think it's gonna. It's too late now.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's gonna help now.
All right. Maybe we should go and talk about something we actually know something about, like discipleship.
All right. I think it's pretty evident by this point that we record this real time in sequence for the most part anyway, like day of, push it out to the internet for everybody to see because like we started kind of like sleepy, dreary a little bit this morning. I don't know if it's just the weather outside, but I felt it too. Which I have a men's group that I go to at 6:45 in the morning on Tuesdays. So I'm usually like I've usually been up for a while, but I don't know. I'm having a harder time
Today's
today.
hard.
So I think that's evidence for all of us. But at this point, this is the third segment that we are recording this morning, and I think we're all a little more lively.
Yes.
And
We've
Brett-
laughed a lot behind
Yeah.
the scenes. So we definitely
Well,
need to
I
put
told
out a
Melissa off camera that I had a dream last night that
Oh, blessed day.
that I was
I'm
being
not going to be
bitten
worth
by
anything the rest of this.
We'll be right
I
back.
was being bitten by a dolphin in shallow water, and it hurt.
And it hurts.
That's amazing that you can
did.
even like remember how
I don't
you
even
felt.
dream like.
Oh,
and
I
then
wish
he's
I
having
didn't.
a dream about getting bit by a dolphin.
Miserable.
That doesn't make me want.
And
to
it
do
was,
anymore.
and
No.
she asked me what I had to eat, and I said, "It's a chicken Caesar pita pocket. It's nothing out of the ordinary."
But the dream was.
a little weird.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Can't blame.
So
me
did
for
you
it.
wake up and like and check yourself?
No, I'm just like, oh, thank God. You know, that's just kind of.
Woke up in the.
Then I
bunny
look at
was,
my phone.
nibbling
I'm
off
like,
the
what
big
time
toe.
is it? You know, how many more? And it's usually like 4 minutes before my alarm goes off, and I'm just mad. So,
No. And then you went to men's group.
and I did, yeah. And it was not about dolphins.
It was not about dolphins.
No,
Thank the Lord.
yeah. It's about good stuff. Anyway, let's talk about discipleship. Talk about
Let's segue
more
to
specifically
discipleship.
bringing discipleship home because you guys all do a whole lot here at the church to equip different generations of kids, of teens, of even adults that you pour into. But how do we take it home? That's always the question, you know, because we can't do everything as a church staff, and we're not supposed to do everything. So, how do we do that?
Yeah, and if you think about it, like one thing that was brought up to me in school was in kids ministries, especially, you'll have the kids for maybe an hour and a half the entire week. And they were like, what do you ever get good at that you only spend an hour and a half? And that's if you're there every Sunday, every Wednesday. And so it really puts into perspective, both as a parent and then as somebody who's trying to partner with parents, going, how do I help you push past the pulpit, push past what we're doing here to help you be an authority at your house, but really love relationship and teaching that relationship with your kids. So that's kind of what I'm excited to pick everybody's brains about and talk further.
Even for the preschool,
Yeah.
I love it because this gives us an opportunity to kind of pull back the veil and kind of show that the preschool ministry is so much more than childcare.
Absolutely.
I mean, these little guys are not too little. Like we start our 1-year-olds off with, what is a Bible? How do you even treat the Bible? And so like, I mean, it starts early. And so I'm excited to be able to talk about just how even to partner for discipleship for even preschool.
Yeah. We've talked about like you're teaching the ABCs. We're kind of teaching how to read the ABCs, and then you're teaching how to apply what you're reading. And so we really do try to work together to make sure that it's not just preschool kids, but it's a whole next generation movement, helping parents be able to lead at home. And so what do you think?
Jesus gave a lot of, agrarian examples and stuff. And I'm not a farmer, so like I have to look up stuff when he's talking about scattering seed and stuff like that. But so to bring it home to some of our kids and parents, what you guys are talking about reminds me a lot of ball. You know, around here, ball is king sometimes, and kids start off when they're itty bitty little kids, and they're just kind of like chasing butterflies on the soccer field, and then as they go up through the pee wee leagues and rec leagues and stuff like that, and you see these kids like really grow in their skills and in their love for it, and they get really, really good, and it's because of lots of time that's poured into it, and effort, and money, and parents are involved, and they've got coaches, and they're trying to get better, and they're putting that consistent effort, and so like that's what I see. By the time they hit, you know, high school, they would run circles around me, you know, and hurt me if I tried to get out there on the field with them. But you know, so I think if we can take the same mentality of, it's not that you have to be born a soccer superstar, but when you put the time, when you put the effort, when you are involved and you seek wise counsel and you're consistent over a long period of time, you can't help but get better. At our house, we don't say practice makes perfect, because we know that we're never going to get perfect. We just say practice makes better, and that includes in your spiritual walk too.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about, like I think about parents who come to Christ maybe later, or even people in general who just go, well, you guys know what you're talking about. You guys know the stories.
Right.
I don't feel confident to be able to teach or to apply what's going on. So I'm just going to let them go to Wednesday night or go to Sunday morning. So how do we then help build curiosity at home, where instead of looking at it as an intimidating thing where I don't even know where to begin,
Right.
how do we help build curiosity at home to where everybody is learning and not just, well, you're the parent, you have to be in charge? Because I feel like that can be really intimidating if you don't know
Oh yeah.
sometimes some of the backgrounds or how to apply or how to talk to your kids. How do you do that?
Well, the first thing is that, and even for us, questions are going to come up that we can't answer.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, because kids' minds are like,
Oh, yes.
like
sure.
they're different. So, but it's okay to not know all the answers. But me and you have talked endlessly about that's the perfect opportunity for new Christians that come at an older age. Serve with us.
yes.
Like learn the basics along with your child. That gives you common ground when you go home to learn together. So, and I love it that, and even in some cases, all three of us have maybe a preschooler, an adopt kid, and a connect kid all in the same home. And sometimes it just so happens, like the last 3 or 4 weeks, me and you've been on the same teaching outline, so they've had some common ground there to go home and talk about. But that's important. If that's a great opportunity, one, to serve the church, to serve our families, but also to kind of open up some of these stories that maybe you didn't know because you came to Christ at a later age, or you didn't grow up hearing these stories. So that, and there's so much more to these stories, even the ones we teach the kids, that's not just for kids, but you learn as an adult, oh, well, I make that connection as an adult. So,
And also, I think sometimes we have to just shift our perspective of what the expectations are. How many times as parents ourselves does a long monologue lecture work for our kids, and they go, you know what, I get it now, and I'm going to do exactly what you said. It's very relational, and it's when you look through the Gospels and the stories, like they're using things around them, like it's every day. Back then in the Jewish culture, it wasn't just teaching you the word here, but they lived it out. There was not a big separation between their church life and their regular life, right? And nowadays, I think church is its own thing. Like you have church friends and you have real friends. You know, some people see it that way, but I think looking for examples to apply what you get at church throughout the week is huge. You don't have to have a seminary degree and give your kid some, college level discourse about the scriptures. I mean, there's so many good resources out there now, even just a study Bible, like Life Application Study Bible or a MacArthur Study Bible, whatever you got with some notes, ESV Study Bible. It says it'll give you some notes about some of the stuff that you may not know just by reading the text. But also, if Brian gives a great message on forgiveness, on Sunday, then, it'd be a good thing to think about in your own life as a parent. Okay, do I need to work on some forgiveness somewhere? And then show your kid that at home and say, maybe just ask them a good question during the week about, hey, you got any, that message really hit me today about forgiveness. I was thinking, man, our neighbor's dog is not nice to our yard sometimes, and I've had some resentment toward him. So I had to forgive him for that. How about you? Is there anybody at school that you need to, work on some forgiveness for, and get that conversation going instead of just, teaching them like that. You know what I'm saying?
I think I love how you ask that, because I think a lot of times, even I'll do this after school with Maverick, is like, so what'd you do today? Nothing. And that's not true. So how do we ask better questions that are more intentional? And I do think when you do know what's kind of going on, where your kids are attending worship, it helps you to ask more insightful questions, because sometimes the conversation just stops when it's, hey, what'd you do today? Nothing. Are you sure? Yes. And so it goes, so I love how you said, hey, have you had to forgive somebody lately? And that starts dialogue that doesn't feel intimidating, I think, on either side. Sure. But I do like that. And I think that's why, we do like sending resources home so that parents can see, hey, here's what we talked about today. Or we have posters up that say, here's our series that we're studying. But I'm just curious, what are some ways that we can help parents ask better questions? Have you guys thought about that? Like to help maybe curiosity, or car questions are what we say when they're going to lunch. It's like, hey, everything's still fresh. You haven't flipped over to Monday yet and what you have to do for that. So what are maybe some questions that we could have them asking to help dialogue start?
So every summer, they have this Southeastern Youth Leader Conference and have some great speakers. Zach Wyatt puts that on. Shout out to Zach. It's his birthday, by the way.
Yeah, happy birthday.
But they have some great breakouts with stuff pertaining to that, and how to partner with parents. And it really showed me, A, I need to do better about that myself. But B, they resourced very well and said, here's some examples. Here's some real life stuff that you can do. And again, I fall into the same thing that we're saying with parents. Like I'm thinking, well, it's got to be perfect, and I got to have this and that, and really, I've just got to be consistent and engage. Yeah. And so I tried to actually start this week in the foyer. We've got a Connect student table with some little digital picture frame, kind of what we're going through, some announcements and stuff. And I added up there some parent resources of like, hey, parents, here's what we're talking about this week. Here's the scripture we're going over. Here's some questions you can ask. Yeah. And so I encourage you, like, pick those up and check them out and be intentional. There's if you have a young kid who's not driving yet and you're driving them to school every single day. Well, I know sometimes it's easy to waste that time in the car rider line where somebody's on their phone or you're talking about the day or this or that. What a great time to just pause and take that 10 minutes to intentionally disciple. So I love how that's what sparked my mind when you said car questions, because that's a great time to do it while you're riding the car, while you're at dinner, those times that you're consistently going to have every day.
Our life is so full of busyness that is a time that you could prioritize. Like otherwise, it's just going to be consumed, and you're going to be exhausted when you get home, and you still got dinner, homework, baths, and it's not going to be a priority. So yeah, I think that time is amazing.
And I love too, a lot of times parents will go, we don't have enough time in the morning, or wow, like schools start early around here, really early. And what I love too is podcasts are now available, but we listen to Annie F. Downs. No, we're not getting sponsored, but she'll do reading through the Gospels. And so we can listen to a chapter as we're driving, and sparks questions. But they have those things for kids that are intentional. Minnow is another one for kids. Minnow. I love Minnow too.
We use Minnow every week in the preschool.
See? And so if these are things that you're interested in, please let us give you websites or suggestions for podcasts, because it is where everybody is. You're not going anywhere for 10 minutes. So maybe, have those on where you can be hearing the gospel, but your kids need to see you doing what you want them to do.
Yes.
It says, therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children. And so we're saying, okay, guys, if you want your kid to be in the Word, they've got to see you be in the Word. It's one thing to see us reading our Bibles. It's an expectation when they come to church to have your Bible out. Is it an expectation at home to have your Bible out? To pray, not just for food. That's great. We should be giving thankfulness, but are we praying in general for our family, for protection for our family, for our friends, for your kids' friends, and for their circle? And so I think, we've talked a lot about this. What is the expectation at home versus the expectation at church? And are they seeing that? Are we being the imitators that we're being called to be?
I think there's maybe it's a double standard that people give themselves, because I found myself doing it too. Like Scott said earlier, we're humans and we fall into the same stuff. It's not having all the answers, but making lots of mistakes and learning from it myself. I think sometimes there's not an expectation for the things of God and spiritual things at home because they're separate. And then sometimes I think maybe parents, and when we as parents put such a high standard on ourselves that it paralyzes us. So like, I don't want to pray in front of my kids if my prayer is not going to be good enough. If I don't know how to pray and I don't have all the fancy words, I don't know all the theological things I'm supposed to. How am I gonna teach my kid about a Bible story when I don't know it perfectly myself? And so I think that's a ditch on both sides of the road. You can't not have any expectation, because if there's no target, they're not gonna hit it, and you can't have a target that's unattainable, like that's got to be perfect. So just being willing to start somewhere, wherever you are.
Yeah.
I mean, the disciples asked too. They said, Jesus, teach us how to pray. How do you pray? Because we're not praying like you and we're seeing you do this. Can you show us? Can you teach us how to pray? And so I think if the disciples can ask and we're disciples, we should ask too. Teach us how to pray. Teach us how to.
While we're talking about prayer, so the preschool lessons for tomorrow night on Wednesday night is the 5-finger prayer. And so I make these little laminated cutout hands where it goes through each. It's a kind of like a just a model.
Yeah.
I'm going to pray for those closest to us, for those who lead us, for those who like are the leader, like that, or this is who points us in directions, who lead us, the whole thing. And so those go home with the kids.
Yeah.
And I have gotten feedback before, but that's a start.
When like Zoe, I love to hear Zoe pray now. But when we started, it was when she was in the preschool, when she was in the garden. I remember you sent home a little cutout that I don't know if she had colored or if it was a cutout of a hand, and we learned that and we went over that at the house and we used that, and that's how she really started her prayer life, was with that little resource that she brought on from preschool.
And it helps the parents too.
Yeah.
And put it somewhere where you see it every day. Like we tell the kids, put their Bible verses where they brush their teeth, because it's something you should be doing every day, so you can see it every single day. Same thing with parents.
Yes.
Put sticky notes up on mirrors or different things. But what I love is we serve a God who's not asking for perfection. He's asking for participation. And so if we look at it not as a performance, but as just a relationship, we don't have to be perfect. He just asks us to show up.
I think that's what scared me to death about so many different things in life. But I mean, especially something as important as like making sure your kids have a right understanding and a growing knowledge of the Word and of the Lord, and that they have a relationship with Him. I mean, that's, when my kids were really, or when we first started having kids, I don't think I really thought a whole lot about like what that would be like. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like when Nora's 9 months old or a year, but like pretty quickly as they start to grow up and as they start to talk and start to, mimic what they see and things like that, you're like, oh man, I've got to get on this. So, I mean, like what you're talking about, there's no minimum age requirement of like when you start this. And for us, we certainly haven't been perfect about how we've discipled it. I'm sure there are things that we could have done better along the way and will do better along the way.
Yeah.
But one thing that Val and I try to do is we try to be really honest with our kids and really transparent. Obviously, like if there's just something real heavy we're dealing with or something, we're not going to like tell Nora, because Nora would love to know every little detail of everything all the time, and sometimes she tries to. But
are kids like that?
Navy's just like playing in the other room. She doesn't care. But we do try to be really honest just about like what we're praying about as a family, and so it's not like, okay, well, there's these compartmentalized prayers that are only for us, and then we just pray these sort of like cookie cutter little
prayers to be heard.
Yeah.
Prayers that are only so it's really it is an experience. And one thing that I've found is I learned things along the way too that are things that I assumed that I knew about different stories, different people in the Bible. And we'll even be reading out of their, kid-friendly Bible. And I'll be like, that's in there. I never, it just every time until now it has, and I don't know if it's just the way it's worded or if I just wasn't paying attention
No, it happens.
or both.
I think you said something that was really important about being super honest. And we're the same way with Zoe. Like we, age appropriate, obviously, but we want to be honest all the time in what we say and do. And that's about the things of God too. Like,
I think that goes so much farther with your kids than
than
you realize because you grow up, your kids grow up, and I'll cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But your kids grow up and they see you be real with them about discipleship and prayer and what you're learning together. And they don't grow up and then discover a different person than the one that raised them.
100%. I think that especially nowadays, and especially with students and college kids and a lot of us, that the world's going to lie to them at every corner and make things look more appealing than they really are, and they're going to make things that are really bad and toxic for you not seem as bad. It's like that everywhere you turn, advertising and TV and government, all of it. And so they're so used to, they're growing up in an age of social media that we didn't grow up in, and all these filtered pictures and stuff like that, and like seeing everyone in the world and the comparison, all that stuff. So that authenticity, especially with students, goes a long way because, I think one of the reasons you hear a lot of times after high school, they stop coming. Well, it's because, one of the reasons I think is because they see that compartmentalization. They see how people act at church and are being church people instead of, lifelong disciples. Yeah. And they don't want to be a part of that. They want something real. Yeah. And so that authenticity and that honesty goes a long way. So if you're a parent or a staff or whoever who maybe isn't as well versed in something, you don't have to pretend that you are. I think that's one of the things that I try to do with our students. I'll get in the Word with you. There's so many resources out there. There's people way smarter than me out there, but we can learn together. We can find out together. And I don't have to pretend like I know it because I want you to know the truth, because Jesus says, that's where the truth is. There's liberty, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's true too. I like that you said growing, and kind of to connect both of y'all. We're still growing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Till the day we die.
I the Word is living, and so we're still learning stuff every day. And it's like, at least in Doc, it's kind of like elementary school. You have to cover certain things to help prep them. Like, you have to cover Noah and Moses and different things. And every time we go, I'm like, I didn't catch that before. I did not catch that before. I have been reading the story of Moses my whole life. And how did I not catch that? And the Lord's like, because that's not where I had you last time you read
even
this.
those simple stories will reveal something different to us as adults.
Yeah, and
that's really how you know the Spirit is the one that's guiding
absolutely
your discipleship process is He is revealing things and showing you things that you couldn't have shown yourself or found yourself or discovered in your own wisdom and your own knowledge.
Right, absolutely. And I feel like you're not as alone. I don't know. Sometimes when I read these stories, I'm like, oh, we're in the same cycle that they were. It's still happening, but the same God is still their God. And oh, good. Yeah. And sorry, I know we're kind of piggybacking, but I love it too, because there's going to be things like that Maverick's going to experience that maybe Danny and I haven't been with. And so what I love about life groups and what I've loved about making even just friends here is who's in our circle that can pour into him. Because I might not have all the answers. I definitely don't. But I need people in my circle who can pour into my kid that I love and that I trust, but also says, you know what, Mav, let's go talk about this. Let's go pray about this, because he's going to open up to people that he might not open up to us, that I know is going to be pointing him back to Jesus and is intentional, because that matters to them like it matters to us as his parents. And so I've been really grateful for that too, and just going, okay, who's in our circle
100%.
Where it's not just the staff at Liberty pouring in, who else is pouring in?
Yeah, even outside of church.
Yeah, and doing life with us. And I had Stephanie Kelly was the other day, this has nothing to do with discipleship, but just she goes, hey, I got onto Mav and my kid because they were running the sanctuary. I said, good. I pray daily that my son will have people in his life that call him out so that he knows there's boundaries, he knows there's guardrails, he knows that there are people who love him so much that they want to set standards and expectations for him through Christ's eyes.
Yeah.
And so, if I don't have the answer, that's cool. Maybe you do, or maybe you have an experience, or you have an experience, or you're like, hey, just went through that with Navy. Let me tell you how we went about this, or let me get you into some scripture. So I think that's good for parents too, is going, hey, you're not in this alone.
And to take, I think the biggest burden off of me, and maybe that's for some parents too, is exactly what you and Austin both just said is, well, Paul said it like this, like, I planted, Apollos watered, or vice versa, but the Spirit is the one who gave the increase. Like, God can take my feeble attempt at discipleship that's not what I think is the best, or I can mess it up, or my little prayer, and the Word is living and powerful, and the Spirit does do work, and that's where discipleship really happens. God doesn't ask us to be, perfect. Like you said, not perfection, but participation. Not have it all together, but just engage and be consistent. And when we do that, if you're in the Word, Scripture says, "Sanctify my truth. Your word is truth." Like that. If you're in the Word's going to do work. It's going to cut. It's gonna show the intent of the heart. And the Spirit's really the one who does the discipleship and bears the fruit. We're not trying to make perfect Christian people. We're trying to make. I love how you say tiny disciples.
Yes.
Just disciples who are trying to abide in Jesus. And when you do that, then fruit comes, no matter how good of a farmer you are, I guess.
Well, and as a parent, because we're all parents, but one thing that you try to really instill is, is the love of that
100%.
relationship. Because think about it. If a relationship is one-sided, there's only love coming from one direction, it never grows.
Right.
So when you teach a child about the love of God and the love he has for them and what he wants for them through that love, and you teach them to love that, to love the Word, to love bringing my Bible to church, to love those small groups that I'm going to grow in and the relationships within them, that's when you see the fruit of it, where you see them grow. Like my kids now are, this hurts to say, but adults. My kids are adults. And it's good to know that because of instilling that love and showing how love is important, like that the Lord loves you, and that to see it grow. Like,
and you're not just telling them that. I've seen you with your kids.
Yeah.
You love your kids.
oh yeah,
You love the preschool kids. You love the dog kids. I love the students.
Yeah.
And you love the Word. And we love praying. Like, not just to tell them about the love of God, but to show them the love of God,
Yeah.
our love to them, but also
Yeah.
our love to God, our love to God's people, our love to the Word. And Jesus says, if you love me, you'll obey my commandments. It's not about the letter of the law, because the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life, right? We have to show at home, more importantly than giving them a discourse about what the Bible says. If I'm living it out at home and I'm living out the love, and my identity's not in my job, my identity's not in my finances, my identity's not in sports, or that my identity is a child of God, and He loves me and I love Him, and this is why I live this way.
Yeah.
This is why I raise you this way, because I love you, because God loves me. And
Yes.
it's this whole thing that comes full circle.
I had a pastor one time say, don't put your identity in anything that can be taken away today.
yeah.
Amen.
And it was just one of those things where it's like, that is so true. What is it that you always say? We're not giving Satan a softball pitch. What is it? What's your line that you
Oh,
say?
no, we're just talking about softball pitches. I probably couldn't hit a fastball or a curveball or like an actual baseball, but when it's slow pitch softball and underhanded, you can just crush it. And the people that are good at it can put it where they want to. But I just don't want to make it easier for the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, because I think a lot of times parents get overwhelmed. Like, they don't want to read the Bible. And this is including me, because I'm going somewhere with this. But like, the names are difficult, or the lands are difficult, or placing different things. And so I was thinking about that softball pitch. And I have Post-its in my Bible all over the place of how to pronounce things, because I don't know it either sometimes.
And that's okay.
And it's okay. But that was like, every time you say that, I'm like, okay, don't make it easier for Satan with an excuse. Just say, Mr. M
Yeah.
went to town T, because because
The
God's
point's not his name.
yeah, it's not his name; it's what God's doing through him. And so, I think sometimes we get intimidated because we're like, well, if we can't pronounce it correctly, guess what? Either can we sometimes. But that's not where I want people to get hung up when they're teaching.
Yeah.
Like God's bigger than your insecurities, and so I think just what we've talked about today, just be curious with your kids.
Oh yeah.
And let people be in your circle who want to love and lead. I mean, know who's in your circle, but we don't always have to have it all right.
So we haven't talked about it, but I mentioned that we even start with the preschool. What is a Bible?
Mm-hmm.
How do we treat the Bible? Like if your kids don't have a Bible, and come.
Let me know.
We've
I
got
would
'em.
gladly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, that's where we can't expect them to read the Bible if they don't have the Bible. Even for my little guys,
Mm-hmm.
it does nothing but just bring so much joy when I see little Phoenix running across
Mm-hmm.
the sanctuary or the foyer to come to the preschool carrying his little Bible. That he's 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah. I have
I
pictures
mean,
on my phone of when my kids got
Yes.
their
Yeah.
first Bibles that they really
Yes.
remember, and it's like, man,
But-
I remember how impactful of a moment that was for
Yeah.
me when Navy came into Nora's room. I remember where I was sitting, and she said, "Will you take my picture with my Bible?"
Oh,
and it's like,
yes.
I just want to melt in this chair. just
we're
thinking
talking about
it. It's like,
resources. That's the first
Number one
resource
resource,
you
yeah.
need.
Yes.
Is So let us
And if parents, you have a Bible that you were inherited and it's like New King James and you don't know what to do with it or
Yes.
how to read it, let us resource you
yeah.
with that. But I think too, that's teaching Phoenix and teaching those babies how to honor God's word, how to honor what is his
Right.
and the space that they're in. I think that's really important too, that discipleship is also about honoring God's house and his things and treating
Yes.
him with that. But I think that also pours out of love
Yes.
a little bit too. Like you're going to hopefully respect and honor the things that you love with your words and with your actions and with your intentions. And that does. It starts with all the way just with those little babies. And I love it.
I think that's a great place to wrap the conversation up, and I really think that y'all have shared a lot of just great insight and just wisdom. I know y'all all have a little bit different staff perspective on discipleship, but I mean, we all share the same heart.
Yeah. It all comes back to the same.
And we all want the same for everyone to be discipled, no matter what age or generation or where they are in their walk or their faith. So I really appreciate you guys
Absolutely.
Pleasure.
taking the time to share all of your wisdom and your insight, and mostly importantly your heart.
Not
Yeah.
perfect. I'm just participating, bro.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And just start somewhere.
Yeah.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Amen.
Have a good day, Liberty.